a signature season, dare I
look
say.
At you. Smooth 6-0.
Oh! Max Domi of the Montreal Canadiens joining us in studio. Well, forgive me, Tim, because we're going to go in the book first and all that, but we have the sizzle reel for you, Max, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Career highs in goals, assists, stop me if you get bored, points. Listen, man, the trade happened. You're going to Montreal. Tim and I are out here, and it's not specific to you, but for any young player that goes to that market, we just get worried like we're parents.
Yeah.
Because it's tough.
Yeah.
And you go in there, and the start was incredible. The numbers at the end of the season spoke for themselves. Why is it that you began to fit in as quickly as you did?
You know what? First of all, I absolutely love playing in Montreal. I was super pumped. I had a great time in Phoenix. I wouldn't have started my career any other way, but growing up with a dad that plays in the other hockey mecca of the world, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and arguably one of the most recognizable faces in hockey, I was surrounded by all that as a kid from a young age. I didn't know any different. Played in London, more or less the same thing, World Juniors, same sort of thing, and I just found that brought out the best in me versus the vice versa of like kind of flying under the radar and whatever. It's just the pressure that you guys all refer to. It's accountability, right? And if you're being held accountable night in, night out, and there's no other way of getting the best out of you than just, I mean, if you're not playing well, you're going to hear about it, and you're going to see it, and you're going to figure it out. So I absolutely love playing in Montreal. It's a huge honor to wear that jersey every day. My teammates are second to none. Coaching staff is great. Training staff is great. And very, very lucky and a true honor.
It's funny, as I was kind of doing my reading for this interview, I'm like, oh my God, he's 24. Like, you've been around because you spent some time on those very good London Knights teams, and you played 4 years there,
yep.
And then you stick with the Coyotes right out of the draft. Like, it seems like you're a veteran of the game. You are a veteran of the game, but you're still 24. Do you feel like last year was more a part of your evolution, or was it kind of right place, right spot, and a combination of both?
Yeah, I think a little bit of luck, right? You end up in a spot where you want to be. I've always wanted to play an original six team, and playing a sold-out arena like that with unbelievable teammates and great coaching staff and all this awesome stuff. And I had that in Arizona, but the whole original six thing was just something that I was like, oh, I wish I want to play in a place like that so badly. And got traded, and obviously it's tough getting traded, but when you get traded to a team that you grow up watching so much, you're like, okay, this is going to be sweet. And then sure enough, I mean, the way that whole organization welcomed me and the city welcomed me, I couldn't have asked for a better fit. And obviously our team came out of the gates pretty strong. We knew what we were capable of, but it seemed like everyone else questioned us. I'm like, I've never heard of a team questioning.
I didn't hear anyone do that.
I've never heard of anyone questioning
I thought
a team
you guys were going to the playoffs
with Carey Price, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Shea Weber, like those guys are absolute legends already. They're Hall of Famers for sure, and to play with those guys on a daily basis and to learn from them and act as a sponge around that is just something you can't really monetize. It's such an unbelievable experience, and I'm very lucky about it. And it's been a fun run. And you know what? We're just getting started. We came up short last year, so we're not satisfied one bit. Last year was I think we took a step, but we still got a few more steps to take. So
it's funny. I was thinking in my head, like in Montreal. Not like other places, hope springs eternal. Montreal demand springs eternal. Like, yeah. How do you take the next step?
That's what I mean. Like, honestly, you are held under, like, you are supposed to win the Stanley Cup every single year in Montreal. And that's how it should be. That's how it really should be. And not that other teams in other cities don't hold that same sort of accountability, but every player wants to do that. So when you're playing in a city and for a team that everyone else is on board for that, and, like, they genuinely bleed, like, success. They're like, we've only ever experienced this, like 24 Stanley Cups, like we want another 24.
Right.
And you love that. I mean, it takes a different personality. I get that, and I respect guys that don't necessarily want that kind of pressure or whatever, but there's no better place to play in the National Hockey League than Montreal. And I say that with 100% certainty. I mean, I love everything about it.
Like, does Shea Weber and Carey Price, do they joke around? Like, what's it like playing? Like, I was just like, we're gonna dive into a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
But you brought up Shea and Carey Price,
yep.
and two of the great players of their generations.
Yep.
Like, when they come in with a joke, is it like, whoa, that's blue? Like, is it shocking? Like, what? Like, how does that go?
No, you know what? I mean, Pricey's pretty to himself, but I mean, he's one of the coolest dudes I think I've ever met, man. Like, he's so low key. He does his thing. He works hard. He's the hardest working guy on the ice. You can't score him in practice. And then he gets into this, like, mode.
So he's that tough. Sorry, he's that tough in practice.
Oh, yeah.
When you guys get going like that, that's
yeah.
the vibe.
Yeah, especially if the team's like had a tough night the night before. He had a tough night, which is very rare, but he had a tough night. you're not scoring on him the next practice. Which that's the coolest part, because I mean, this guy's the best in the world. He's arguably one of the best of all time, and I mean, he's still like unbelievable in a practice or a morning skate. Like that to me is why he's so good. And then I mean, he's still super cool, like funny guy, like likes to have fun. He's a great teammate. He's just awesome. Like everything about him, you can't say enough good things about Carey. Shea, exact same thing. I think honestly, I mean, I could go out there and say with 100% certainty that he best captain in the NHL currently in terms of respect in that locker room. When Shea Weber talks, everyone in there, coaches, management included, everyone shuts up and listens.
Yeah.
That to me is like, that demands like a lot out of, and you want to play for a guy like that. You want to put everything on the line for him, and you see him because he doesn't just talk, he backs it up. And he doesn't talk much, but when he does, like, he means business, and he's got that team kind of wrapped around his finger, and I feel very lucky to be a part of that group. And obviously, when he gets the puck and he's going to shoot it, there's not many people that can shoot that. Yeah, just get out of the way as far as possible.
A bit of a screen and then just.
But no, those guys are unbelievable, man, and we're very lucky to have them, and they're a huge part of this team, and we're all just kind of following suit and learning as much as possible.
Yeah, well, I was raised real bad boys move in silence.
Yeah.
And Weber's kind of that guy.
Exactly, man.
The one thing, as you were speaking about it, and I was looking at, you're wearing the goat on your chest. The one thing I like about you is that we saw you with our friend Aaron Brown around track and field. We saw you NBA Finals, watching back. You kind of watch everything.
Yeah.
In baseball, guys don't shy away from the Yankees. Same climate, same situation. In basketball, guys don't shy away from the Chicago Bulls or the Boston Celtics, even though there is that hype, and it's not exactly the greatest climate in the world, but they want that spotlight. Why do you think that there are some guys that thrive in that and some guys who don't? Do you have any idea what it is?
It's a good question, man. I mean, I think everyone's so different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you two are very different people, right? I mean, every hockey player's, like, we're all different, and we're human beings too. So some guys like being in a more dialed back climate, or like really hot climate, go play some golf on the off days, good food, super relaxed, no pressure.
Yeah.
But you're still playing in the NHL, so you're still playing the best league in the world. It's not to say it's not that much of a difference, but there is just, you got to be able to understand like how much of a privilege it is to play in Montreal. And I guarantee you, if guys just would just experience one day as a Montreal Canadian, you'd be like, wow.
So what's one day like?
It's the best day ever. Like,
is it the
just
electricity?
To walk in,
is it the?
Just look at that logo, that jersey. Like, you look at that logo, you're like, man, the Richard brothers wore that. Guy Lafleur's wore that. Patrick Roy wore that jersey. John Beliveau's worn that jersey. It's the same damn jersey. It hasn't changed. Like, that is just like the history is so rich, and you're just like, this is so cool. And you feel it when you put it on. You feel it when you skate out on the ice. And you're not just playing for yourself, your teammates, or your coaches. You're literally playing for that city and the generations of fans that were before that, because everyone's just so dialed in, and it's such an unbelievable feeling. And the amount of success that they've had. We all play hockey to win a Stanley Cup, and the amount of success that team has had, that franchise has had, and the way they handle themselves, the first class mentality, you can't beat it. So if I was talking to a free agent, if you love hockey, you truly love hockey, you would not want to be anywhere but Montreal.
Fair enough. I want to revisit you on the ice and your situation here momentarily. But you are becoming one of the great authors in Canadian literary history. Max Domi.
Career highs and author.
No Days Off, My Life with Type 1 Diabetes and Journey to the NHL is coming out, forgive me, fairly soon? This is fairly soon.
This is October 29th, I believe.
Okay.
It's,
and available on pre-order at Amazon.
Go pre-order it.
Today.
Yep.
There you go.
The day you were diagnosed, let's get into it. The day you were diagnosed, how old were you?
I was 12 years old.
And I'm assuming you remember every part of that day?
100%. And it's funny because I talk about it pretty casually, and back then it really was casual because I didn't know anything going on. I had no idea about the disease, nothing. I was coming back from Detroit, hockey camp actually, put on by like a North American like youth hockey, like minor hockey, like high level thing, whatever. Coming back, I was sick, I was losing weight, really, pale. Not exactly the most tan person, but I was pretty pale. And something was off. And on the way back, it's like 4.5 hours from Detroit. We're in Troy. Coming back, every gas station I saw, I was like, Mom, pull over. I got to go pee, or I'm really thirsty. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I don't know, but I need something. So we got back, after 7 pit stops on the way back. She's like, all right, we're going to go to the hospital, get some blood work. She was talking to my aunt who worked at Sick Kids Hospital. She's like, man, that really sounds like diabetes. So went and got my blood work done. came back positive, and the first question I asked when the doctor came over to me was, "Oh, Max, it looks like you're a type 1 diabetic, and you're gonna have to head down to Sick Kids today." I'm like, "Okay, but like, can I still play hockey?" He looked at me and goes, "Of course. Do you know who Bobby Clark was?" And I was like, "Nope." Here I am thinking like I know everything about hockey. Right? Like, I know I'm buddies with Matt Sundin. Like I know everyone. And did my research, and I was like, wow, like this guy's one of the all-time greats, and he was a type 1, just like me. Like, let's go. Like, let's go. All I wanted to do was play in the NHL, so nothing else mattered to me.
Right.
And as soon as the question was answered and said yes, Bobby Clark did, I was like, okay. Nothing else matters to me, like, let's go. So that's why the day was so casual, because I was like, I don't really care about what else is going on. I just know I can play hockey, so whatever else I have to do, I'm good. And I hated needles, so it was kind of ironic. But anyways, so a couple months go by. I don't know how much time went by, but I was lucky enough to be in Whitby playing at the Silver Stick. And my mom, who obviously would never have done this ever in her life, she goes over to Bobby Clark. She finds him in the arena and goes, "Hey, like, I've never done this ever. Can you please come just say hi to my son? He just got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. He plays for the Don Mills Flyers. He wears number 16 because of you, and he absolutely adores you." Anyways, I've met some pretty cool people in my life, through my dad, obviously, and I've never really been starstruck because he just was the norm. Bobby Clark walks in the room, and I look at him, and my jaw just drops. And I'm like, oh, my God, that's like Jesus Christ. He took like 30 seconds out of his day to talk to me.
Right.
And every second of every day after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to be just like Mr. Clark was. Like, I was lucky enough to meet him. He did the same thing. He has the same thing I do, and he did what I want to do.
Right.
And sure enough, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Knowing that he did it before we had any of the technology nowadays made it so much easier for me, especially when days get hard, which we all have those days where I go, oh, why me, poor me kind of thing. So I was like, if I'm ever lucky enough to make it to the NHL and live my dream, I want to do what Mr. Clark did for me and change my life and give me the motivation to live my dreams for as many kids as I possibly can. Hence why I wrote a book, hence why I love to spend time with kids and really just share my story and just tell them, listen, I had the same sort of situation. You're faced with a decision. You can either kind of feel sorry for yourself, or you can, all right, like, bring on the challenge, overcome the adversity, and it's just so gratifying. And to be able to write a book and share my story with kids and hopefully change their life in a positive way, it's very powerful.
It's funny because I've heard about the disease and I know a little bit about it, but I didn't realize, like, reading up on it, during the season sometimes you have to test your blood 15 times a day.
Yep.
And I thought that this cute picture of you and this dog on the front of the cover. Oh, the dog is cute for perspectives. It always works. I don't know if you use this, Xero, but back in the day I had a golden doodle that helped me woo my wife. So I know that they can work
the dogs,
for it.
Man, they know
but
what
then I realized that dog is a support dog for you.
Yep, that dog is smarter than I am. Doesn't say a whole lot, but he's definitely smarter than me.
So describe kind of the situation.
Yeah, so he's a diabetic alert dog. So what he does is actually you give off a scent from your saliva that he's trained to alert you based off of if it's going high or low. And it's before it gets to a dangerous spot, and you can still treat that low or high, and he doesn't miss. So I don't really need him, so to speak. Like I can feel my blood sugar, I can control it myself, but when it comes to, after a game you get in and it's like 3 a.m., you're just falling asleep, you got to be up in a few hours, so you go, okay, I have to sleep the next 2 hours, but your blood sugar starts dropping and you're worried it doesn't want to come too much. He would wake me up before it gets to a dangerous spot. So it just alleviates a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and really allows you just to try and recover and sleep and just be a normal human being for a little bit. And he's kind of my safety valve. So
like jumps on you? Like the whole
If I'm sleeping, he'll wake me up, whether it's licking my face, whatever. And again, like I said, he's doing it before you're in a tough spot, like it's before it's too late. So it doesn't take much. He
smells your saliva.
Exactly.
That's unbelievable.
And in public, I'd wear a belt loop, and I don't really take him out in public too much, to be honest, because I don't really need him. Because like I said, nowadays I have a CGM, which is this thing, a Dexcom. So it actually goes to my phone, and who doesn't carry their smartphone everywhere now? So it's almost cool for me. Like I just go like this, and I got my blood sugar is 6.4 right now, and you see where it's trending. So every 5 minutes it goes. So I don't really need the dog, but at nighttime, before I had my CGM, it was just a great thing to have because he would wake me up, and not only did it make me feel safer and more comfortable, it made my parents and my mom and my dad and I'm sure kids with parents watching this right now, they'd be like, "Oh my God, that's the worst feeling ever." And you guys are parents, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like,
I have a cat, and my cat's
you're a parent too. Then
my
there you go.
Same thing.
So
my
when
cat's
you're worried about your cat,
way dumber than your dog. Way dumber.
No, but any parent knows like they're worried about their kid and the safety of them, and if it's out of their control, like to have that safety valve and that protection like is a very powerful thing. So this goes to your phone and allows you to do stuff. So more or less the same thing as the dog, but before I had this, my dog was my was my human or dog version of a CGM, and he's more or less a human. Like I said, he's smarter than I am, so he's spectacular.
What's his name?
Orion.
Orion.
Yeah.
And also, if you brought him around, like he'd become a bigger rock star than anyone.
He already is a bigger rock star. He is the man, and he knows it too. He's just got that strut. He's like, I am the GOAT. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, Max, congratulations again on the book.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish you nothing but success with it, and your story is beyond inspiring. And I'm sure there are a lot of kids, a lot of young hockey players, maybe watching across the country, who know exactly what you're talking about, and I applaud you for that. So
Yeah.
congratulations
Thank you very
for that. Your contract. There's not an easy way to segue from one to the other. I'd like to just talk about your situation for a second.
Yeah, sure.
You're in a contract year. For those who don't know, Max Domi is in a contract year after a very successful first season in La Belle Provence. And you may be, depending on how things go, an RFA in the not-too-distant future. First off, any talks with the Habs at all in terms of that?
No, can't really comment on that, but
You could say you've
nothing.
had a phone call, you've had a meeting. I mean, I'm not looking to break
Yeah,
the news. I
no.
know you're not going to give me that.
Yeah,
but
no, nothing really going on. Just getting ready for this year.
Great answer to that. That leads me into this. You go through the year.
Yep.
You're an RFA. What do you make of what you're seeing right now with some of your other colleagues who are RFAs? What goes through your head when you see this?
The real answer for me personally is I still got 1 year left on my deal, and all I'm really worried about is we didn't make the playoffs last year, so that's enough to worry about. And like we're trying to take steps forward here and with our team, and I know it's not exactly what you want to hear, but that's just the honest truth. I mean, it's a lot of work to be a successful team and be a part of that, and every guy in that locker room is a big part of our team. So if I don't come to camp ready to go, then I'm letting down my buddies and vice versa, right? So that's really the only thing I'm really concerned about. But it's definitely been interesting to follow all the RFAs this year. I know, obviously, I mean, Line A and Mitch and, I mean, Kachuk and all these kids, it's so different nowadays because they're putting up crazy numbers at such a young age. And you would never see kids, I mean, not only asking for much money, but they actually deserve that much money at such a young age because they're such a big part of their team. And I mean, Martins is one of the best players in the league, and the Leafs are very lucky to have him, right? So it'll be interesting to see how it unfolds. He's a great kid. I'm excited for all these guys. I think they all deserve it. They're all awesome hockey players, and I don't know them all personally, but they're all pretty good dudes from what I've heard. So I'm excited to see how it all unfolds, but training camp should be pretty exciting for everyone.
Fair enough.
The way it works for me is one, real bad boys move in silence, and two, do your job. The rest will take care of itself.
Amen.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
That's the answer, yes. That's the proper answer.
Yeah.
Max, again, congratulations
Yes.
on this. All the
Thanks.
best to you. It's really great having you in. I know you're in a different city than we are, but whenever you're in town, you want to pop by, the door's always
Fantastic.
open.
I appreciate it.
And, you know, if it was a 92-game season, you guys might have made the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah, we were
you guys
close.
were feeling pretty good.
Close, man. Just got to carry that into this year, right?
All right. Well, congratulations.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for
Thanks
having
for
me, boys.
coming.
Appreciate it. That was fun.
Max Domi, the Montreal Canadiens. He's a delight.
And an inspiration. We'll throw that in there as well. Thank you very much, Max.